This is my first video, so be kind. I was diagnosed with breast cancer last month, and I thought about documenting it for myself, but then all these videos keep coming up on my feed, and I actually found them kind of helpful, so I figured, yes, do it for myself, but also maybe I'll actually post this and see what happens. So last summer I found out that I had a gene mutation called PALB2, and it's similar to BRCA2. They both work together in the cell to repair DNA, and the same risks that you have if you have BRCA2 you have with PALB2, but at a lower level. So it was determined that my overall risk of breast cancer was about 53%. And there are some things that you can do. One of them is a double mastectomy. And the other option is to go on hormone suppression, which I didn't want to do. I already had a hysterectomy about 6 years ago, and have been suffering with some of the effects of not having estrogen, so I didn't want to go that route. And the other option is increased just increased checks. So instead of an annual mammogram, I would have a mammogram, and then 6 months later have an MRI, and then 6 months later have another mammogram. So the first well, it's not my first mammogram, but the first mammogram I had after, well, not even after, I'm sorry, I'm kind of messing this up, but at my annual appointment is when I did the genetic testing. It took about 6 weeks to get those results. So I had my annual mammogram in July. So January was the first time I'm having a breast MRI. And I really wasn't worried about it. I was kind of actually preferred, getting additional testing. I felt that was the safer option. And first MRI, they find something. So, I saw it on my chart before the doctor even called me. And went in and had a biopsy. And I knew immediately, you have to go in before they actually do the biopsy. They just use sonogram to confirm what they saw on the MRI. And as soon as she put the little wand thing on my breast, she just moved it maybe half an inch. She's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go get the doctor. And I was like, crap. And then they're trying to do the biopsy, and the tumor was so hard that they were struggling to get the needle in to even get tissue out. And just those two things right there, I knew immediately that it's not a cyst, it's not something that's benign. I knew right then and there. So in the meantime, my dad is actively dying. So I get in the car. So I do the breast MRI, and then I have to leave the next morning to drive to New York to be with my mom and hopefully get to see my dad in time. And that night before, I already saw the results. Actually, that's not true. I'm thinking of the other thing, the MRI. They called they called me on the drive to New York. So since I found out, it's been like a whirlwind of doctor visits, and you have to meet with this person, meet with that person, do this, do that. I'm scheduled to have a lumpectomy on March 16th. And if they get clear margins and there is no lymph node involvement, I will have TC chemotherapy, which is Taxotere and Cytoxan. I will have 4 doses spread over 12 weeks. And then after a little bit of recovery, have 4 weeks of radiation. If they don't get clear margins, or there's lymph node involvement, then I get 20 weeks of weekly chemotherapy, 4 different types of chemo, which I don't have memorized right now, and 6 weeks of radiation. So that's where I am right now. This coming week, because the surgery's next week, basically, I have to go see an ear doctor to get like a baseline hearing test, because a lot of the chemotherapy is ototoxic, meaning it will damage your hearing and you could have permanent hearing loss. So I have to get like a baseline for where my hearing is now. I have to go to the dentist on Wednesday, because when you're doing chemo, you can't have any dental work done, because chemo makes your blood level so low between your bleeding risk or infection risk. So you can't have dental work done during chemo. So if I need anything done, I have to get it within the next 3 or 4 weeks. So, and then on Friday, before the surgery, they put a little radioactive seed in your breast, and then they use that seed for the surgeon to locate exactly where they need to cut the tissue out, because it's not like in other areas where you visibly see like the tumors kind of all looks the same. So they use this little radioactive seed. So busy week coming up, and hopefully on Monday when they do the surgery it will go well, and I will not have to do 20 weeks of chemo, but I have to be prepared. You just never know what's going to happen. Also, my tumor is, so PALB2 mutation is kind of rare, and of course my tumor is also strange. It's low positive estrogen at 10%, and then negative progesterone, and HER2 negative also. So I'm being treated as triple negative. Those cancers tend to be more aggressive, and because it's slightly low positive for estrogen, I will still have to do hormonal suppression afterwards, which I'm not really looking forward to. So, sorry if this is TMI, but I currently use something called Femring, and it is it's an estrogen suppository that you use to keep your vaginal tissues moist and healthy. And what I'm using now, Femring, has a slightly higher dose of estrogen, so it actually gives you a little bit of systemic estrogen, and they don't want me to take it anymore, and I'm not happy. Not a nice, it's a prescription, so it's going to be challenging to get it if they really don't want it. There is something called Estring, which I was on first, and that is a lower dose of estrogen, but it doesn't work as effectively. but it's still better than no estrogen ring. So looking forward to that. And even though my husband always says I'm negative, I do try to kind of find the positive in things and kind of see past the challenging and stuff that's hurtful, and just try to have a more positive outlook. Sorry, the sun is not cooperating with me right now. So I think I've already realized. So almost 6 years ago, my daughter, she died of a fentanyl overdose, and since then I've kind of been in I'd say I've just been numb and dark. It's been a dark place, and since then just been like, and I know I don't want to die, but I was always like, if it happens, it happens. I'm not, like, I didn't care. But getting this diagnosis kind of made me realize I do care. Like, there are things that I still want to do. I hope one day to be the cool, fun grandma, and I want to retire, and I want to be able to travel more, and just get up and get in the car and go. And I am realizing that, I'm feeling that I really do want to do things, and I haven't felt that way in almost 6 years. And like I said, it was a pretty dark place, and so I'm trying to be positive, and like, this is the journey to come out on the other side and be in a better place. And I'm trying to get my life in order, my house in order, so that when all of this is done, I can enjoy it and enjoy the life that I have. So I guess that's all for my first video. I will keep you updated as things happen. Maybe I'll try and sneak a camera in to the radioactive seed appointment. And if anyone else is on the same journey, I wish you well, and feel free to give me tips, suggestions, and we can just offer each other support.